Hello, hello. Hey there, everyone. I am your Sharky host, George, for today's thrilling flip event. Max Brallier is here to chat with you about writing and finding inspiration in things you love. Plus, he's got some spine tingling news about his ninth book in the Last Kids on Earth series, Monster Dimension, coming on November 7th. And quick reminder, you may have seen this on social, but you can enter in to win one of the 50 copies of the Last Kids on Earth Monster Dimension during the event. Your opportunity to win is right here, just right now. Simply scan this QR code and you could be one of those lucky winners, so don't miss out. Finally, remember, you can ask all your questions and your thoughts in the chat. We have the Penguin Young Readers team here to assist and answer those questions. And now are you ready for a spooky, spooky time? Because the countdown is about to begin. And now, without further ado, let's welcome our guest of honor, the New York Times, USA Today, and Wall Street Journal bestselling author, the creative genius behind The Last Kids on Earth, and so much more, Max. How's it going?
Hi, how you doing?
I am doing wonderful. First off, happy Halloween. It's so good to see you. It's so good to see you in costume. Let's talk about that. What are you wearing? Who are you? What are you?
So happy Halloween. I am a hampire. I'm part vampire, and then I have piggy ears, and there's much more. There's a pigtail you can't see. I had a nose, but it was itchy. So.
No, I love it. I love it. Still the spirit of it. Still the spooky times. I love it. I love it so much. It's cool because I feel like I'm gonna take this down because I'll make sure I can hear everything in your answers. Really tighten the shark head. We have a lot of kids, I'm sure, that are dressed up, and I think that's where I kind of want to start. Is like these kids that are watching right now in their younger years. I want to dive into the background of an author. Did you know what you wanted to be? Was it an author? Was it something else?
So I did know what I wanted to be, but it was something else. When I was about 9 years old, I was very convinced that I was going to grow up to be a professional baseball player, which did not happen at all. So I was awful. I was the worst kid on the entire team. I was so bad that there I am as a little kid. Check me out there, 9. They're doing my favorite thing. I was eating frozen pizza, which I still eat all the time today. Although today will probably be a little bit different. Today will be a lot of chocolate. I thought I was going to be a baseball player, but I was awful. I was so bad that they had to end up. They made up there I am. It's my little. It says reading, but it actually says reading. But I was also I knew from an early age I loved reading, and I was so bad that they had to make up a fake position just for me. Called extra deep right field. So they wanted me, they put me so far back there that I wasn't really part of the game anymore, which was actually okay because what then happened was I would just sit down in the outfield during the games and take off my glove and my hat, and I would daydream, and I would always daydream about characters that I loved from books and movies, and we would go on adventures together in my head, and that's how I sort of figured out that I wanted to tell stories with the daydreaming that I did as a kid.
I love that. I'm just so stuck on the extra, obviously it's that extra inning, but then I think about newspapers and then the association of writing. I feel that ties in so well. The extra, it's Max here all about it.
Read all about it. Worst baseball player ever.
Yeah. But I love that because you had that time to daydream. So what was kind of the next step that got you into actually turning into actual writing, putting the pen to paper?
Sure. So I started writing. I wrote some sticker books. I wrote activity books. All these little. I could sort of write anything that could get a chance to write. But I really wanted to write my own series, my own sort of big adventure series. But the big problem that I ran into right away was that the stories that I loved growing up, like movies like The Goonies or stuff like that, they never had to really deal with the parents in those stories. I didn't want to write about parents, but that's hard to do these days because kids can't go anywhere without being in touch with their parents because of phones and stuff. So what I did was I decided to just set this big adventure story during the end of the world and get rid of all the parents with a giant monster zombie apocalypse. So then it's just the kids. And so then once I had that sort of like big idea, kids like on their own, end of the world, lots of big action. I created a main character who's the hero. That's Jack. So Jack is a foster child, and so he's never sort of had the family that he's wanted. So then he has to sort of create a family of his own, which he does. He makes like a sort of a found family. I love stories about people like characters where they sort of create the family they always wanted. So he does that from his friends. And so now it's he and all of his best friends team up, Quint and June and Dirk. And then all sorts of stuff in the series comes from my own childhood. I had a tree house when I was a kid that me and my dad built together, and then that became the tree house in the actual book. Well, it became like the big, amazing version that I would sit there and imagine as a kid that I had. So that turned into that. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. And I have to acknowledge, I think the same thing. I always think like, I don't know what part or what age I was, but I rationalized like, man, where are these kids' parents? Like, why are they just running around? So I love that you manifested this environment. It's like, okay, no parents and these kids. And then also I do love like kind of the lore, like kind of the way that like, these characters kind of form their own families in it. So I think you definitely do such a wonderful job, like, telling that story over the course of the series. And that's really, really cool. And it's cool to see like your thought process. Like there's so much that goes into it. And especially I love that like that treehouse photo you shared, like that's like kind of like the influence that you're able to bring into your writing, which is cool for like this next generation of writers to think about too, is like, it's cool to bring those influences and real life applications that like maybe memories you have and how you can kind of morph that into a story of your own, just like you did.
Yeah, thanks. It's like I mean, so much of this stuff comes from my own childhood, the stuff I thought about as a kid, me and my friendships, my relationships with my best buddies, my family dog is made into the series as Jack's dog Rover. So yeah, it's been an incredible journey to see stuff that I daydreamed about as a kid becoming this book series, and then a Netflix series, and then toys and a video game I got to help work on, which is like a dream come true, which has been a sort of really wild, like really very lucky, a wild ride.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, when's the musical come out? Like, I'm just waiting for that. I feel like
Tomorrow.
That's like the bingo card.
Very excited. It's tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see the live stream. Yeah. Stay tuned after the credits of the show. We have a little mini musical. Well, I love all the adventures. I love all the places it's taking you. It's so cool. And I thought it would be fun for us to like, kind of create another little adventure here. It's a little wild, again, a little crazy, and maybe even mad. And it's like, I guess what we call our Halloween special, getting spooky with a Mad Lib. And so what we have here is, as you guessed, a Halloween-themed Mad Lib. And we're going to give you some prompts, and you're basically going to fill in the blanks with the first thing that comes to mind. How's that sound?
I can do it. Let's do it.
All right. That sounds great. I will prompt you, and then you just give me what first thing comes to mind. So
first thing comes in there.
Yep. Okay. Let's give me a spooky adjective.
Slimy.
Perfect. How about a noun that's plural?
Plural noun. Spaghetti monsters.
I like it. How about a verb?
Somersault.
All right. How about an adverb?
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Adverb. Hamburger scented.
Ooh, well, I love that from Somersault. That's great. A type of candy. Oh, I like that.
Reese's Pieces.
A scary monster.
A 9-legged spider beast.
Gosh. All right. A verb, but in present tense.
Explode.
Like it. All right. A room in a haunted house.
Let's go with the old tickle chamber.
Oh, the old tickle chamber. How about another adjective?
Fancy pants.
All right. A creepy sound.
Tap dancing sounds. That creeps me out.
I like that. A costume.
Zombie clown.
Okay. All right. And then a number, any number at all.
327 and a half.
Oh, and the half. I got to have it. And then the last thing, an exclamation.
I always say this when I get frustrated. Radioactive elephants.
Who wouldn't? All right. I think we got all of your answers, and let's just compile that as we put together your Halloween adventure. How we get the thumbs up? All right. I think we got it. All right. We filled all the blanks with some little mind reading, and we'll see if the story makes sense. So will you do the honors and read us the story, Max?
Sure. So once upon a time in a slimy town, Max and a group of spaghetti monsters decided to somersault through the dark, hamburger-scented forest on Halloween night. Who doesn't do that? They were in search of the legendary Reese's Pizzas hidden deep within the wood. As they ventured deeper into the forest, they heard rustling in the bushes and caught a glimpse of a 9-legged spider beast lurking behind the trees. Max quickly exploded in there and shouted, "Into the tickle chamber room, everyone!" Inside the haunted house, they were greeted by a fancy pants atmosphere with eerie tap dancing sounds echoing through the halls. Max and the group realized they had accidentally stumbled upon a zombie clown party hosted by 327.5 radioactive elephants.
Man, I just have so many questions. Like, what does the half radioactive elephant look like? What is the blueprint where you go into the tickle chamber? Like, I feel like it's like what not to do when you get into a scary house.
Exactly.
And so one thing I'd have to say, like, that I want to share is that while you were kind of reading that, Max, I took your response and basically asked Bing Copilot in Microsoft Edge to kind of create an image of this story based on your Mad Lib. So let's pop that on screen right now. And so this is what came out of it, which I love, because the biggest thing is like it's hard to visualize like what exactly is happening from writing, but this is so fun. I see the Reese's Pizzas, I see the 9-legged spiders. It's pretty cool. Is it what you kind of visualize, Max?
That's incredible.
It's cool, and then this is like so cool to be able to like kind of match it, and then like also maybe we can adjust it later. But so fun. And everyone out there, if you want, create your own spooky story, you can share it with Max in the Flip group. And if you're feeling adventurous, you can also ask Bing Copilot to bring that story to life with visuals like we saw on screen. So again, make sure to share your story by heading over to flip.com/Max Brallier. And we can't wait to see what you and Bing Copilot create. And now, Max, before we dive into some questions, we're getting into our favorite moment of the show, a little spooky moment. We're going to get a spooky, ticker to show how many times we say spooky in this event. But it's the scary selfie time with all the little zombies that are watching right now. If you're out in your classroom, wherever you are, get your cameras ready, gather in front of the screens, and hop out of that beanbag, your seat, wherever you're watching from, because we're going to get a chance to take a selfie with Max, and we'll give you a few seconds to get set up. So let's cue that spooky music. All right, Max, I think we're ready. Can you give us a countdown starting from 3?
3, 2, 1.
I love it, Max. I got my pick. I love all the poses. That was incredible. There's also like it's like a game, like not trying to hit the monster, but trying to hit the monster. I can't wait to see everyone's posts with Max. So please do share them on social and tag us, Microsoft Flip, Last Kids on Earth, and Penguin Class. Max, thank you so much for taking that selfie with all of us.
You got it.
All right, and now let's get on to some questions from some of the zombies, ghosts, and ghouls and friends out there. And what's cool is we have some video questions that the Penguin Young Readers team collected from around the world. So we have some video questions. So let's play that first video question.
How does somebody actually, write a book?
Oh, so how does someone write a book? That's a good question. And what a great little video. That's a good costume. It's a very big, long process, but I think that the sort of simplest way to explain it is you come up with an idea that you really love and are excited about, a story you want to tell, and then you take that story and you do your best to get everything you can out of it. Like just pull whatever, whether it's a spooky story and you want to get all the scares out of it you can, or whether it's an adventure story, you want to get all the sort of cliffhanger moments. And then you write and you write and you write, and you're helped by wonderful editors and sometimes illustrators. And then this thing you had in your head becomes an actual book after it gets printed.
I love that advice. I think it is so daunting to know, like, how to write a book. And like, I think a lot of it is like, just to start writing, and to write everything is what it kind of, as you said, like, write all your ideas down, get it on paper, and then kind of like, put the through line through all the story. And then also having a ton of help too with editors and illustrators and just like other people reading it to kind of really, collect that story together. So I love that.
It's a big thing. You got to, I think it's like every day, just a little bit. You got to break it up.
Right. I love it. All right. Great question. Great costume. Let's roll to our next video question.
I love your characters. How do you create them, and how do you make them feel so real?
Are the pumpkins going into the stove? I love that.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
About to like. And now, thank you for the question. And saying you love the characters, what I always take bits and pieces from different real life people. All the characters in The Last Kids on Earth, at least all the heroes are taken and based upon different people in my life. June is inspired by my sister, and then two other friends of mine, and then Jack's a little bit of me, and Quint's a little bit of my best friend. So I take personality traits, mannerisms, the way people talk, things they say, things they do, their interactions, and also like just the big sort of the way the group as friends, the way they all interact. That is all taken from sort of the friends that I had in middle school, high school. So yeah, that's sort of what I do.
I love that. And again, I love that costume, and I love the question, and I love like the idea of like, there's a way to like almost like you're paying tribute to those people in your life that kind of influenced it, and then to be able to like, I feel so honored to be a character in like someone's book like that, and that's so cool to see a little bit of myself in there. Yeah. All right, deal.
Don't worry.
Cool. All right, great question again, and let's roll on to another video question.
Hey Max, what's the coolest monster you've ever created, and can you tell us about it?
Coolest monster. So the answer is Blarg, who's the monster in the sort of the bad guy in the first book. I have is actually the Blarg action figure here, and he goes this. So when I did the first book, I didn't know how many sort of opportunities I would get to write a big monster story. So I kind of went for like my to sort of create the. I tried to create the one that was like, if I could imagine like my perfect like big scary monster, and that's what Blarg, sort of what Blarg is. But I think the real monster is actually the illustrator behind the scenes, or there's Doug Holgate, who creates like, I have like a little bit of an idea for like what a creature might be, and then he takes that and turns it into like some amazing illustration. That's Doug Holgate, the illustrator of The Last Kids on Earth. That's not that's just a photo. He's not him live. He's not frozen. Or
he's very good at it if he is.
He's very good at it. He's good at a haunted house.
Shout out to Doug. I know, I love that. It's cool too to see like that like brought into life even as like a figurine. Like that's so cool. Like the different like kind of so cool levels of it. That's so wild. All right, we actually have one last question. It's coming from the chat. It's a very serious question, Max. Mrs. Hall's class from Omaha is asking, what is your favorite candy?
My favorite candy? It's between so it used to be anything Reese's, but then like there's like so much Reese's stuff now that it's like we're like living in this golden age of like Reese's, where you walk to the store and it's just Reese's. Like there's like, oh, it's a Reese's hammer, or like I don't know, everything. So I like Goobers, and I like saying them, and I like Mr. Goodbar. They're sort of old-fashionedy. But when I was a kid, my favorite thing to walk around, if like I got it trick-or-treating, I'd be like jackpot would be probably like a Baby Ruth. Those are like, if I saw Baby Ruth, I was like, that's jackpot.
Baby Ruth, I like it. The Goonies favorite too.
Yeah.
It's like, especially like when you get the big candy bars, I still think about that. Like even today.
You hear about that one. It's like, oh, 3 streets over, Mrs.
Right.
Jones is giving out king sizes, and you're like, ah, it's the best.
You follow the stampede of ghouls and goblins or whatever, and Batmans that are chasing to the house. Like, oh, you know what's up? It's the full size candy bars.
It's like breathing everywhere, mask on,
Yeah.
trying to get a
I love
Snickers.
it. Well, speaking of candies, monsters, and books, obviously, I want to take another moment and kind of a last chance within the show to pause here and remind everyone watching to go visit the Flip group and share your big co-pilot monsters that we're talking about, your scary stories, your questions. And also that you can win one of the 50 copies of The Last Kids on Earth Monster Dimension today. And your opportunity to win is right here. Again, just simply scan that QR code and you could be one of the lucky winners. So please don't miss out. All right. Unfortunately, it is the spookiest of times. It's about time for us to kind of wrap up the show here, Max, and continue to celebrate Halloween. But I just wanted to ask, do you have any additional final thoughts you'd like to share with everyone watching? Any advice? Anything at all?
I thought this was 7 hours. I set aside my entire Halloween. I canceled everything for this. Final thought. I hope everyone has a wonderful, happy, safe, candy-filled Halloween, and all the stuff we dress up as on Halloween, right? Like most of it, they're like characters from stories, and that's I think what makes stories so amazing, that they're this thing that we all get to share and enjoy. And I hope you guys are all out there and share your own stories as well, between bites of M&Ms and fistfuls of Reese's Pieces.
I love it. Well, Max, thank you again for being here with us, sharing a little insight and background of kind of your journey, and a little insight into your writing style. But again, just for inspiring us today. And it's been just so wonderful to be able to celebrate this day with you and this event. And hope to see you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
See you later. All right, now for all you zombies, ghosts, and vampires out there, the learning and inspiration and spookiness is never over. Head on over to flip.com/Max Brallier to submit your video and share your stories with us. And even though we're wrapping up for today, we have Flip events almost every week, so head on over to aka.ms/Flip events to find an adventure that sparks your curiosity. On November 16th, we're actually meeting Dylan Dreyer, co-host of NBC's Today Show and best-selling author of The Misty the Cloud. Your students will meet the meteorologist, listen to a story, and engage in an interactive STEM activity. That's it for today. I'm your host, George Malukrin, and on behalf of Flip, Penguin Young Readers, and our amazing guest, Max, thank you for spending time with us, and we'll see you next time.